I know I saw a Carno around here. Nice, there is. Nice! Drag him into the water. Let's go. Hold down the right mouse button to do this. Come on, he's trying to escape. We ain't gonna let him go. We are not letting him go. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Isle. Today, as you guys can see, we are back on the Evrima branch, playing as the Deinosuchus. Now, we just successfully hunted our first catch of the day, which is a Carno. And I've been playing for a while now, and I've had a bit of pesky Utahs and Carno action up here. So I'm just up here trying to flex this Carno on them. This is pre-recorded footage, so I'm just going to be going back over and talking you guys through it, because some pretty mad shenanigans happened, let's just say that. I was feeling pretty bold playing as this Deinosuchus, and I decided I wanted to test the capabilities of the Deinosuchus on land. We all know what a formidable predator it is in the water, but I wanted to see how much of a predator this thing is on the land. So that is what I'm going to be exploring today, and I'll just give you a clue. It doesn't end too well for me, but we do put up a very good fight, so I think you guys should stay around and see how this video goes. Now, the first instance of us testing the Dino's capabilities on land is here, and we are hunting a Carno. Now remember this Carno's face, because he is going to come back to haunt us later on, and with a few of his friends, so stay tuned for that. Now, as you guys can see, we are using the most stealthy skin you could pick. Bright yellow and black. I mean, this thing just disappears. I'm kidding. But we are being stealthy still. You know, my stealth abilities are next to none, I gotta say. And what I mean by that is they are non-existent. But we are using the terrain right now to sneak round. And this honestly shocks me when I was playing. I was like, this isn't gonna happen. The Carno is coming to the jaws of death. We miss. I don't know how we missed that. I'm going to blame it on it being the dev branch version of the game and it not being done yet, because there was no way that did not hit. But this Carno now is like pretty scared, doesn't really, bit shocked. Why is this Deinosuchus on land? And that's the good thing about being on land with the Deinosuchus. Probably the only good thing is people don't expect it. I caught a Utah the other day literally sneaking up behind it, and you just wouldn't expect it. So right now we get a peace offering from this Carno, so he has his good moments, but after this he has a bit of a character development and becomes a bit of a villain, so I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So speaking of villains, somebody did hunt this smaller Deinosuchus. It was not me, it might have been me. I am using it though with good intentions. I'm bringing it with me to these Carnos. It's a little bit of a peace offering. Now, that's not entirely the truth. I did want to battle these Carnos, but I thought if I bring food up with me, if it starts going south, at least I'll have something to drop and hopefully they'll leave me alone. But I knew what I was getting myself into. So I just swander up to these Carnos right now with a little Deinosuchus in my mouth, start flexing, start eating it in front of them. And this little Carno, he gets a little bit brave. So he comes up and he sees the Deinosuchus, sees it looks pretty tasty and fancies himself a bite himself. Now this is where I do start fighting back. I am not going to lie down and take this, and I did want the battle, you know. Having PvP on land with the Deinosuchus isn't something I've experienced, so I really wanted to test it out, because the grab ability of the Deinosuchus is pretty good. You can grab something on land, hold it in your jaws, and then run back into the water. We saw this at the start of the video with that Carno. I pulled it into the depths of the water. So this is one of the Carnos, by the way, which was previously shown, and I am getting attacked on 3 fronts here. It's quite hard to defend, especially with the turning of the Deinosuchus. It's quite, I don't know, it's quite sudden, it's quite drastic, the turning, and on land it's not something I'm necessarily used to, so it took me a little while to get the timings right. I'm getting a few bites in here with the Carnos, and I'm a fully grown Deinosuchus here. I was pretty confident I could tank all these hits, and I'm doing a pretty good job. They're only biting the tail at the moment, and on Evrima, on the dev branch version of the game, there is regional damage, so you will take more damage if you get bit in the head and less damage if you get bit in the tail. And for the Deinosuchus, you take pretty much negligible damage when bit in the tail, just because it's so armoured and that's not a weak spot on that dinosaur. So I'd say we're putting up a pretty good fight here. It's a lot is going on. It was quite overwhelming. Looking left, right, and behind me, and of course it's obvious looking back. They are baiting me hard. Someone comes in, for instance, and then there's one behind me. I turn away from that one. The other one knows, starts biting me on the tail, and it stacks. This damage stacks, and I am getting quite a bit of bleed, if you guys can see on the bottom right-hand corner. So this battle starts taking a bit of a turn, and of course, I am at this time not having a look at my thirst. And as we all know about the Deinosuchus, thirst drops like a stone when you are on land, and you take a serious amount of damage if you hit 0 thirst. So that becomes a real problem. I love as well I just saw there, which I didn't even notice at the time. This is the Stego just watching this madness. I want to know what he's thinking at. If you were watching, Stego, you know who you are. If you're watching, let me know what you were thinking, cause that is a pretty weird POV. Yeah, if you guys saw back there, we did grab one of the Carnos. But the stam, I've got to conserve the stam on land. You see, I'm fighting a losing battle on land with the Deinosuchus, but I really wanted to see, I picked this fight, I wanted to see, I was pretty confident. I thought I could take these Carnos. I thought there's no way they can survive like 2 or 3 bites from a fully grown Deinosuchus. And it just keeps on getting more intense. This is where I started getting a little bit worried. They seem to be getting into a bit of a rhythm now, understanding the timings and how to get me. And although you see there the turning, it looks like you really spin around. If they're at the tip of your tail, then you're gonna not be able to get them. And if you saw that, I turned then, and I was actually, my jaw was on that Carno. I bit and nothing registered, so I'm not sure if that's just delays in the game, you never know. Of course it's Dev Branch, so it's not finished yet. Or, you know, maybe the hitbox. It's like there. It's things to expect though, of course, because it's Dev Branch. But I just thought it was really cool to take on a large group of carnivores, because the Carno and the Deinosuchus are the 2 largest dinosaurs carnivore-wise anyway we have in Evrima at the moment. So I wanted to see them go head to head, and of course a 1v1 is going to be a little unfair when the Carnos are. So having a 3v1 I feel was pretty exciting. Now our luck does change further on in the battle. I love as well how we just have one of the Carnos does not want any part of this. He's just watch him. Doesn't want anything to do. There's a Yuto over there as well. I'm getting some good bites in, and if you look at the Carnos, slowly they are getting a progression of them little scars and, you know, visible damage to them. You can see they are taking damage, and it's a moment of peace here almost. Oh my god, if you look at my thirst, it is dropped. Now this is something I really didn't clock to at the time. I'm really bad for this. When I play, I get so caught up in what's happening. I will not be looking at my stam or anything else on that icon bar, and this time around it was my thirst. And this is when I start to notice, I'm like, oh god, I've got literally no thirst. I'm going to start making my way back down here, because I think I'm doing okay damage wise. I'm not taking a huge amount of damage. I only have the first screen of damage, so I'm thinking, right, it's time to make a little bit of a retreat, because I know that when I drop to 0 thirst, that's when I'm going to be taking the big damage. You know, if it's turned red now, you know, if I'm taking thirst damage, I can't afford to be in a battle. It's just not going to work. It's not something you want. So I'm trying to keep them away here, using what little stam reserves I have, just to try and keep a bit of distance, because as soon as I turn my back and start going down this hill, I know that they're going to come on me. And this is where they can really start getting a footing and come a bit further into my Deinosuchus, you know, attacking the back and maybe even the back of the head, and I'm going to start taking considerable damage there. It's not just going to be being bit in the tail, something I don't have to worry about. It's going to be something I actually have to be concerned about. Now, as we saw there on the character screen, I'm on about half health right now, but this is where things start getting a bit peak for me. I really don't know how to handle this, because I'm stressing. I've got thirst, and I know that when I take that thirst damage, it's gonna really be a game changer for me. So my priority at the moment is, I'm like, right, I've just let the Carno have some bites on me. If it means I can get back to the water, I'm more worried about the thirst than the Carno. You know, they've kind of let up a bit now. I've only got to deal with one, so I'm thinking, right, I've just got to go, and get out of there. Trying to fend him off here with some pretty vicious attacks, but of course they're not landing. He has got the complete upper hand. When I'm under defense like this and I'm not prioritizing attack, it's quite hard because I'm putting myself in a situation where the back end of the Deinosuchus is very vulnerable, and they are exploiting that very well. Now, as we saw there, another Carno is running down the hill, coming to join in, and I see the water here, and I'm like, I'm pretty close. I'm gonna try to use my sprint. So I use my sprint there, but also I'm trying to get the Carno at the same time, and this is where I start to get worried. You see, when my Deinosuchus is actually flinching there when it's getting bit, I'm like, okay, I am actually taking some damage now. And the thirst is coming in, I'm taking damage from thirst, getting worried. I'm like, right, stamina reserves, you've got to go. And they're on me now, both of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really bad. I have no stamina now, can't even use the pounce attack. And they can see that I'm worried. You know, that desperation, that sprint I made is just saying I'm, you know, on my last legs. I'm not sure what I want to do. And now the damage is really stacking up. This is not looking good for my Deinosuchus, and the Carnos know this. Continuing the assault, I'm trying my best to get him now because I know I'm not going to make it to the water. I'm like, right, I've got to try and take him down. But unfortunately, it does not go to plan for me. They keep attacking, keep up this relentless attack, and there goes my Deinosuchus. Now, of course, I kind of put myself in that situation. Well, not kinda, I did put myself in that situation, so I don't regret it at all. I found it really interesting to see the Deinosuchus battling on land, and it was just cool to play on land as the Deinosuchus. Sometimes, I'm sure a lot of you Deinosuchus players will know this, sometimes playing just solely in the water gets a little bit boring, especially with the lack of dinosaurs we have at the moment, you know, and you can't take a Stego one solo with the Deinosuchus. So I kind of wanted to have some fun on land battling another larger carnivore, and I got that. It was a fun battle even though I lost my Deinosuchus. So I just want to say, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment below, tell me what videos you want next, maybe another skin video, and feel free to subscribe. We are nearly at 2k subscribers, so let's try and get there. That'd be awesome. Okay, thank you for watching, guys.